My name is Anna Bukina, and I was born in Ottawa, Ontario.
Yeah, my name is Michaela Callender. I grew up in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada, in the North End.
Well, my name is Justin Angela, and we're here to film the Horatio Alger video. My mom and dad were in a pretty severe car accident. This was around the time when I was in the 5th grade. They were on the way to pick me up from school, and the driver behind them had a heart attack at the wheel and rear-ended them. It took them from one stoplight to the next. I didn't know this at the time. I was waiting outside to see where's mom and dad, when are they gonna pick me up, but time passed by and no one showed up. My dad rejected the hospital transfer, so he said no to the ambulance because there was no one to pick me up. My sister was still at school, I was still at school. So he pushed through it, and the medical professionals, they really suggested to take my mom. She ended up with severe injuries in her neck, so I think it's all her discs. They're pretty damaged. She has a traumatic brain injury. It pretty much took them out of work completely. There really wasn't a moment or anyone to help guide me. So it all bottled up for quite a while until actually Horatio Alger. my counselors, they knew that I couldn't afford to pay for university, and they suggested to look at some scholarships. And I noticed on the board one day that there was the Horatio Alger Association, and I read this quick description and I was like, okay, might as well try, because my parents always told me that the one thing in my life that I need is I need an education. That's the most important thing to have, is an education. No one can take that away from you. And having seen where my family was and where they went, everything shifting, it really solidified with me that, yeah, education is the only thing that will be with me at the end of the day. So I tried to apply to as many scholarships as possible. And thankfully, Horatio Alger had a pretty generous offer where they would have some counseling, they would have some assistance, and they would also provide some money to try and further where I was.
My father unfortunately passed away due to stomach cancer, so we lost him quite abruptly. At least it felt abruptly for me. Obviously, I wasn't my mother, so one day he was here, next day he was at the hospital, and the next day he passed away. You know, you're a parent with 2 very young children. My brother was, I want to say, just over 12 months, so very young, needs a lot of attention, so do I. I'm 6 years old. So it took a toll on her. I saw her, like, her stress. I saw a lot of her stress there. So that, and then for me, I suppose it was grief, but I didn't realize that he was gone until maybe 11, 12. I didn't understand the concept of death because my life had just started. Because of the way I saw my mom go through the loss of my father, she didn't really, she was never in bed and, very publicly grieving in that sort of way. So I'm like, oh no, my mom, like, if my mom can do it, I can do it. This is nothing. This is just a little bump in the road here and there.
My parents immigrated when, with my 2 older siblings already born, and I was in my mom's womb. And so when they came here, we started off in a very small apartment, and there wasn't much support here. We didn't have any family here either, so they didn't even know English, actually. They went to English second language classes, but my dad had handwritten a resume to hand out to different places of work. And so this sort of struggle to always find work and to be able to support their family was something that I grew up with from a young age. So eventually my dad found a job and he was supporting our family while my mom was at home with us. I do remember times where we were going to food banks, honestly, very often, and it was something that seemed very normal, and it was just something we would do routinely. And so my dad did whatever he could in the best way he could to support us. He was generally really active too, and he pushed us to be the best versions of ourselves. And then he fell sick with cancer when I was 15, and shortly after 6 months he passed away. And it kind of stirred up my family a lot, but we often reflect back on what he would have wanted us to be like and to be our best versions. So I, at the age of 15, decided I want to keep pushing myself rather than taking this as something to bring me down. And it took a while to get back on the wagon of school and doing extracurriculars, but eventually I did it, and I do it with thinking about my dad.
Today is my graduation day, so I graduated computer engineering at the University of Waterloo. Just finally, after 5 years, I've got my iron ring and the capping gown to prove it.